Alright, man, we finna wrap up season 3 with episode 18 right here. Goku and DC season 3 finale. And y'all see it. Goku and Wonder Woman sleep together. That's what I think I'm gonna title the video. People gonna go crazy in that algorithm. But yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Goku stood alone before the pristine white coffin, his shoulders slumped under a weight far heavier than any training equipment. The cheerful, often oblivious Saiyan was gone, replaced by a man carved from grief. Tears, unfamiliar and hot, traced paths down his cheeks, each one a testament to a failure he couldn't absolve. He placed a hand on the cool surface, his voice a raw, broken whisper. Robin, I'm sorry. I couldn't be there. I couldn't get there fast enough. He swallowed hard, the image of his friend's final selfless act burning within his mind. But you were the real hero. Even when it was all over for you, you weren't thinking about yourself. Your last thought was on another soul. You were on death's door and you still put the lives of others at the forefront of your mind. You've got to be the realest hero I've ever met. His fist clenched, resting gently on the coffin. I won't forget you. I promise. Starfire was the one that approached next, her vibrant green eyes dim with a profound sorrow. She looked down at the peaceful face of her friend. Her voice was soft, melodic. Her voice a soft, melodic ache. Oh, Robin, you were the bravest of us all. A gentle, sad smile touched her lips. You were our leader. You always knew what to do, even when the rest of us were most uncertain. Her composure wavered. A single tear escaped. And I'm so sorry. I walked away. I let my hurt pull me from our team that was like a family. I thought I had time. I thought there would be a tomorrow for us to reconcile. Now the greatest of my regrets is that I did not get to spend more of my todays with you. I have lost precious time, and for that, I will always grieve. Bruce Wayne stood unmasked, a solitary figure of shadow in the bright room. The black of his batsuit seemed to drink the light, a physical manifestation of his grief. He did not hide the single stark tear that tracked through the grime on his cheek. His voice, usually a controlled growl, was stripped bare, like a father's agony. It should have been me. Dick, it should have been me in that box. Pause. He placed a trembling hand on the coffin, his head bowing. I failed you. I wasn't prepared enough. And because of that, I failed to protect someone who was like my son. You were everything I lacked, with a similar mind. You were going to be a better man than I could ever be. Where I saw shadows, you always saw the good, even in the darkest of times. That was your power, Dick. That was your legacy. Raven floated forward, her dark cloak pulled tightly around her, a shield against the pain that threatened to consume everything within her. Her hood was drawn low, but it could not contain the single crystalline tear that welled from beneath and fell. A drop of pure sorrow against the dark fabric. Her voice was a strained whisper, thick with the effort of containing the ocean of dark emotion that was within. Maybe, if my energy hadn't been so depleted from the dead zone, my telekinesis could have intervened. She clenched her fist, the air around her chilling slightly. I was needed elsewhere to bring our ace back, and in doing so, I failed to be there to protect you. Please forgive me. Superman approached, his usual aura of invincibility replaced by a somber humility. He looked down at the young hero, his expression one of deep, respectful regret. I never told you this, Robin, he began, his voice quiet and earnest. But when Goku first joined the Titans, I was never worried. Even though, yes, his power is immense and his nature is unpredictable. He sighed, but put on a wee smile. The reason I was ultimately comfortable with it, the reason I could sleep at night was because I knew you were there. I knew you were watching his back, yes, but more importantly, I knew you were the steady hand on the tiller. You were the strategist and the moral compass that kept everything running smoothly. I trusted you to lead with him. I placed that burden on your shoulders. And for that, I'm thankful that you were capable. Aquaman approached with a solemn, regal grace. His remaining hand, calloused and strong, came to rest firmly over the boy's heart in a gesture of deep respect from one warrior to another. The empty space where his other arm had been was a silent testament to the ferocity of the battle they had survived. You did not die a cowardly death, he intoned, his voice echoing with the gravity of the deep. You died a warrior's death, a king's death. You stood your ground against a tidal wave of destruction and did not yield. You remained true to your oath, to your friends, and to yourself until your very last breath. We would all be so lucky to meet our end with such courage and such honor. The seas will sing of your valor, Richard Grayson. As the service ended, the weight of it all finally broke the dam within Goku. He turned, his body shaking with silent sobs, and buried his face in the strong, comforting shoulder of Wonder Woman. Without a word, she enveloped him, her arm a solid, reassuring weight across his broad back, holding the pieces of him together. Shh, she whispered, her own voice thick with shared grief. We grieve together, my friend. The pain, it is a testament of how much he meant to us. It feels like it will shatter us now, but it will not. We will carry him with us. We will heal, not by forgetting, but by remembering. And in time, the wound will become a scar, and the scar a memory of a hero we were privileged to fight alongside. As Goku made to leave, a hand in a black gauntlet settled on his shoulder, stopping him. Goku flinched, his body tensing for a familiar lecture or some type of demand for account of his actions or something. He turned to face Batman, expecting the usual sternness. Instead, he found only raw, unvarnished grief. Wait, Batman said, his voice softer than Goku had ever heard it. He hesitated, the words clearly foreign and difficult. The reports, the ones Dick sent me about the Titans. He always spoke highly of you. He wrote about your loyalty, your heart, and your capacity to inspire others. He defended you constantly. Bruce jaw tightened. I was wrong to distrust you. I let my nature cloud my judgment. For that I am sorry, Goku. Goku, stunned, simply nodded. It's okay, he said quietly. We all mess up. And with that, he walked away, leaving the Batman alone to self-reflect. In a secluded corner of the hall, Barry Allen sat hunched on a wooden bench, still in his flash suit. He wasn't vibrating, wasn't moving at super speed. He was utterly still, staring at his trembling hands as if they belonged to a stranger. I wasn't fast enough, he muttered to himself, over and over, a mantra of failure. I should have been there. For Nappa's fist, I saw Cyborg's systems failing, so I stayed in the lab, just in case the doctors needed me to run and grab something, but I should have come back, just in case Nappa was still around. And damn it, he was. I'm the Flash. My only job is to be faster than the disaster. But I failed. I should have been faster. I should have saved him. I should have been there. He curled his fingers into fists, the fabric of his glove straining, a speedster trapped in the agonizing slow moment of his perceived failure. Later, Goku, Raven, and Starfire found themselves in the sterile, quiet hallway outside the medical bay at Star Labs. The hope of seeing Victor had been quickly dashed by a somber doctor. I'm sorry, the doctor had said. His condition is far too unstable. He's been transferred to a specialized, undisclosed facility for a procedure that we cannot perform here. It's his best chance. The news settled over the trio like a lead blanket. They sat in a row of uncomfortable chairs, the silence between them heavy with worry for one fan and grief for another. It was Goku who finally broke the quiet. Has anyone heard from Beast Boy? Raven and Starfire exchanged a glance before slowly shaking their heads in unison. No, Starfire said softly. He has not reached out. He remains lost to us since the day he left. The circle of their friendship felt smaller and way more fractured than ever. A month and a half had passed since the funeral, and for Diana of Themyscira, the nights were the hardest. Oftentimes, alone, she would stare at the star-strewn sky, her thoughts perpetually circling one person, Goku. She found herself replaying their moments together, his unwavering presence at her side in battle, his infectious laughter that could cut through the rawest tension, and the profound, simple innocence he carried himself with. In a world of men so often clouded by greed, deceit, and complexity, Goku was a beacon of pure, unadulterated spirit. He fought for the joy of testing his limits and to protect others, with no hidden agenda or thirst for dominating power. She admired that quite fiercely, even when his obliviousness to social cues and deeper emotions left her both amused and faintly frustrated at times. He was a paradox, one of the most powerful men she had ever known, yet in many ways the most guileless and pure. That unique combination had quietly and irrevocably carved a place for itself within her heart. Diana was lost in her stargazing, leaning against a wall on a metropolis building, when a familiar voice cut through her reverie. Well, well, long time no see, princess. What brings you all the way to Metropolis? Lois Lane approached, a knowing glint in her eye. Diana offered a small, polite smile. No reason in particular. Miss Lane, I am merely sightseeing. Clearing my head. There is much to think about these days. Lois's grin widened into a full reporter smirk. She followed Diana's gaze, which had unconsciously drifted back toward the general direction of a poster of a certain saiyan next to Superman, saving the Daily Planet from being destroyed. Uh-huh. Sure. Sightseeing. Let me take a wild guess. Lois teased, her voice dropping to a playful whisper. Those thoughts wouldn't happen to be about a certain super strong, spiky-haired hero who eats enough for a small army, would they? A telltale heat rushed to Diana's cheeks, a deep blush that she couldn't hope to hide. She quickly averted her gaze, studying the city lights below with sudden intense interest. Her silence and reaction were a more confirming answer than any words could have been. Lois's expression softened from teasing to genuine warmth. Look, Diana, she began, her tone turning sincere. Goku is a lot of wonderful things. He's strong, he's unbelievably fun to be around, and he's probably the most dependable ally you could ever ask for. But let's be real. He wouldn't recognize a woman's romantic feelings for him if they were written in bold letters on her shirt and accompanied by a detailed diagram. She placed a reassuring hand on Diana's arm. So if you want my advice, if you want this thing to go beyond just being battle buddies, you're going to have to be as direct and brave as you are in a fight. You have to make the first move. With the final encouraging smirk, Lois turned and stepped into a waiting cab, leaving a flustered and deeply thoughtful Wonder Woman alone with her racing heart. Back at the League of Assassins stronghold, Goku stood shirtless in a courtyard with his body glistening with sweat after an intense solo training session. The air around him still hummed with residual energy. He was approached by Talia al Ghul, who moved with a lethal grace that contrasted his raw power. She observed him with a mix of fondness and exasperation. Little brother, she began, using the term that had defined their unique bond. You push yourself to the brink every day. You have honed your skills here to a fine edge, but you do not belong in the shadows. You should stop playing in our world and start to lead the assassins for our next age. Your destiny lies in the sun. Goku wiped his brow with his arm, offering her a grateful but firm smile. Thanks, Talia. I appreciate everything you and Nissa have let me do here. But that's not my style. And besides, I've got to get stronger. He politely declined her offer once again, his mind clearly set on his personal path. As he turned to leave, his usual easygoing demeanor shifted. His face grew serious. Looking back at her, and he paused, looking back at her with an uncharacteristic gravity. Talia, he said, his voice low. There's something else. When are you going to tell Bruce about his son? The question hung in the air, stark and direct. Talia's own expression iced over, her protective wall slamming down. That, little brother, she replied, her voice cool and final, is a family affair that is far beyond your concern. Without another word, she melted back into the deepening shadows of their ancient temple, leaving Goku alone with the unsettling knowledge that he was powerless to fix a different kind of situation. Goku walked the quiet stone halls to his sparse private quarters, pulling his orange gi top back over his head. He was still damp with sweat, his muscles aching pleasantly from his exertions. And he pushed the door open and stopped dead in his tracks. Sitting primly on the edge of his simple bed, her hands folded in her lap, and her head slightly bowed, was Wonder Woman. A faint red tinge colored her cheeks, and she was nervously fiddling with her fingers. Diana, he asked, his voice laced with genuine surprise. What are you doing here? Of course, she knew where he lived. They had trained together here for a year, but her presence in his private room, unannounced, was entirely unexpected. She looked up, meeting his gaze for a fleeting second, before looking away again. I need to speak to you. With you, she said, her voice softer than usual. Privately. Intrigued and slightly concerned, Goku stepped fully inside and shut the heavy door behind him. Diana took a deep, steadying breath and rose to her feet, forcing herself to look directly into his curious, dark eyes. She could feel her heart hammering against her ribs, a rhythm more frantic than any battle drum. Summoning every ounce of her Amazonian courage, she began. Goku, we have fought countless battles together, side by side. I am so glad you came to my island when we were children. If I am being completely honest with myself, I couldn't wait to see you again when you left to go back to man's world. Her words came out in a rush now, her gaze dropping slightly to avoid the intensity of his. What I'm trying to say is, I was wondering if you would like for us to become more than just friends. She finished sheepishly, the confession leaving her feeling incredibly vulnerable. Goku blinked, his head tilting in the familiar, enduring way as he processed her words. The concept was foreign, but the emotion behind it was not. A warm, genuine smile spread across his face. Diana, you're my best friend. I trust you more than anyone. I can't think of anyone else I'd want to become more than friends with. Those clumsy Goku words were all the confirmation Diana needed. A wave of relief and exhilaration washed over her. Instead of explaining further, she decided action would be a far better translator. She closed the small distance between them, her hands coming up to cradle his face, and pulled him into a deep, passionate kiss. Goku stiffened for a fraction of a second in complete surprise, his eyes wide open. But the sensation was not unpleasant. Far from it. It was warm, soft, and sent a strange, thrilling jolt through his entire body. He didn't pull away. His hands came up tentatively to rest on her hips as he relaxed into the kiss. His eyes slowly closing as they mutually explored this new, breathtaking form of connection for the very first time. When they finally parted, Diana's face was radiant with pure, unadulterated happiness. Goku, meanwhile, looked pleasantly dazed, with a faint blush on his own cheeks. Whoa, he breathed out, a goofy grin forming. That was almost better than food. Diana laughed, a joyful musical sound. She took his hand. And now, she said, her voice full of promise. We can sleep together in the same bed. Most nights, if not every night. Goku arched an eyebrow, his head tilting again in confusion. Didn't we already do that when we were kids? Back on Themyscira? So what's the big deal with sleeping in the same bed now? Diana's face flushed an even deeper crimson. She leaned in close, her lips brushing his ear as she whispered, Yes, but there are things we couldn't do in bed as children. Before his bewildered mind could formulate another question, she gently blew out the single candle illuminating the room, plunging them into an intimate darkness filled with new possibilities. Much later that night, Goku found himself awake. Diana was nestled against him, deep in a peaceful sleep. Her features softened and illuminated by the moonlight streaming through the window. Even with her eyes closed, she seemed to be the most content and happiest he had ever seen her. A profound sense of peace settled over him. He gently brushed a stray strand of hair from her face, his touch feather-light. He wasn't entirely sure he understood the complexities of what this new relationship meant, but he understood one thing with absolute clarity. He was the cause of the serene joy on her face, and that made him happier than any victory in battle ever could. She was a warrior, a princess, a hero who could carry the weight of the world. So she deserved that happiness, this peace. And he was glad down to his very soul that he could be the one to give it to her. Goku's serene expression hardened into a grim determination. The warmth of the bed, the peace on Diana's face, it was all precious reminder of what he had to lose, and what he had already lost. Terra's sacrifice, Robin's untimely death, the near destruction of his friends, and Vegeta's possible return played like a relentless loop in his mind. He could not afford to be content. While the world slept, the threat from the stars only grew closer. With the utmost care, he extricated himself from the bed, ensuring not a single movement disturbed Diana's well-earned rest. He dressed silently in moonlight, his movements efficient and purposeful. One last lingering look at the sleeping Amazon fortified his resolve. He was not just fighting for the planet anymore, or for self-improvement. He was now fighting for a future with her. He slipped out into the cool night air, his destination clear within his mind. The one man who had resources and genius to help him push his limits beyond anything imaginable on Earth that he knew. Goku touched down silently in a deserted metropolis alley, making his way to a sleek, towering skyscraper emblazoned with a stylized L. He was ushered into the penthouse office where Lex Luther sat behind a mammoth desk, a glass of amber liquid in hand. Lex's smile was a masterpiece of calculated warmth. Goku, this is an unexpected pleasure. To what do I owe the visit of my favorite metahuman? He asked, his voice smooth as silk. Goku, never one for preamble, got straight to the point. I need your help, Lex. I need better training equipment, stronger than anything on the Earth. What could come next, I have to be ready to protect. Lex's eyes gleamed with hidden triumph. But of course, what are friends for? Consider it done. And I'm sure one day you'll return the favor for this generosity. He leaned forward, steepling his fingers. Now, specifics. What did you have in mind? Goku thought for a moment. I need to get stronger, faster. Is there a way you can make a room heavier? Like where gravity is stronger. Lex's smile widened into something truly predatory. He spread his hands. My friend, I can make anything. And then Goku looked at him and said, can you make your hair grow? And Lex Luthor frowned at that statement. Elsewhere, deep within a sterile hidden laboratory that bore the ominous logo of two red R's, The comatose form of Victor Stone lay suspended in a nutrient-rich tank. Wires and tubes snaked from his cybernetic parts into the complex machinery surrounding him. The room hummed with the sinister energy. An older man with a sharp, calculating gaze and one cybernetic eye of his own leaned close to the glass, a cold intellectual curiosity burning in his expression. This was not a Star Labs facility. This was the workshop of Dr. Giro. He watched the steady, artificial rhythm of Cyborg's life signs, his mind already racing with designs, improvements, and modifications far beyond anything Silas Stone could have conceived. A thin, ruthless smile stretched across his lips. Such magnificent technology, he whispered, his voice a dry rasp, wasted by sentimentals. But do not worry, Victor. They have failed you. I will not. You will be stripped of your weaknesses, your fleeing humanity. You will be perfected. You will become my greatest project yet. So yeah, man, that's the end of this season, man. Hopefully you guys liked it. You know, I had put on a cliffhanger. Cyborg gonna turn into, he gonna be one of the androids. And they finally got together. Y'all been talking to me about this for so long. I know y'all happy in the comments. And I got some plans for, I don't want to spoil it. Whenever I get to 1,100 subscribers, I'm going to tell you guys some other plans I have for this story in the future and things like that. And, be sure you like it, subscribe, all that, share it, all that stuff, man, till we go up, man. I'm trying to get to 100,000. You know what I'm saying? So, till the next one, I'll see y'all later. Peace.